Okay, so this is the episode where we talk about how the People's Crusade killed all the Jews.
Interesting.
Yeah, like really interesting. You know why?
We're not talking about Hitler, by the way.
No, actually, this was the first Holocaust.
Yeah.
It's regarded by the Jewish community as the first Holocaust.
It makes sense.
There's still like prayers and stuff that are about this.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And that was a little while ago. Just a couple thousand years.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. I checked my phone because yours vibrated.
first we have to figure out who were the Crusaders.
Romans.
They're not Romans. The Roman Empire wasn't around anymore.
Listen, man. Everybody thought they were Romans back in the day.
Everyone tried to be the Romans.
Yeah, that's why I said everyone thought they were the Romans.
Caroline had a dream where a lizard jumped on her face,
Interesting.
and it scared her more than those dreams where you're falling. I told her to go look up the face hugger scene from Alien.
That's a good one.
So there were two types of crusaders.
Yes.
There were knights,
Uh-huh.
which you're going to find the description of them hilarious.
And
So-
then there were peasants.
Yeah, they're infantrymen, peasants.
Like the infantry's always the peasants.
Yeah. The knights weren't what we think of them today.
I feel like they were fat as shit. Jesus.
It was early knights.
Uh-huh.
And they had split responsibilities.
Yeah.
Half the time they were farmers, or whatever their
Yeah.
royal house needed.
Uh-huh.
Because they were nobility,
Yes.
but
Well,
they
like on the
weren't-
lower side.
They
of
weren't
the-
really nobility. Like
Yeah.
they were just soldiers that were also farmers that happened to be tied to a noble house.
When we say farmers, though, it's like they made their people farm.
Actually, no,
They farm too?
they did,
Interesting.
because you know who were like the workers in noble houses?
Who?
The knights.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, they had workers of their own.
Well, yeah, everyone has workers of their own, dude.
Yeah.
It's the noble houses you're talking about. But they didn't fight for more than 3 months of the year. So this isn't like the plate mail jousting knights you think of.
Were there ever any of those at some point?
Yeah. At the peak of medieval society. And in the later crusades, you get more heavily armored knights.
Yeah.
But-
I mean,
These were just dudes who had like open-faced conical helmets.
yeah.
They had chainmail on. They wore jerkins, which I had to look it up. It's a sleeveless leather shirt that's used for not like getting cut when you get slashed with a sword.
Yeah.
They had horses, and this was the funny part to me. The equivalent price of a horse in the medieval era was the price of a mortgage on a house today.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
These dudes were balling.
Yeah. And these guys usually have like 2 or 3 horses.
They get paid a lot for farming.
I don't think they're farming wheat.
I must assume that too. Was he farming some very precious product?
Take a guess how big these knights were, or these horses were.
The knights, I don't know. The
Knights
horses,
were probably about like 5'5", 5'6".
they're probably some of the bigger horses we've seen.
No.
No, they're not.
They're about the size of
small
ponies.
ones. Yeah. It was one or the other.
They're about the size of ponies, dude.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Yeah.
There's just these knights, these mounted cavalry with heavy armor. They're laying siege to a castle on fucking ponies.
Well, they probably didn't have that heavy armor.
Okay.
Not the first ones. The other ones could afford bigger horses.
No, that was just the size of horses then.
That's shitty.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you'd think, like I'm paying a mortgage for this thing. I want something that's taller than me.
I mean, the Mongols did with it.
The Mongols also had smaller horses.
Then-
Mongolian wild horses are still a thing,
Then the knights?
and they're smaller. No, they're the same size,
Oh, okay.
but they're still smaller than modern horses.
No, I know that. But I mean, the Mongolians did with ponies, so everybody else can too.
Yeah, the Mongolians are also a fucking huge outlier.
You're right. They were shooting arrows from ponies. Nobody's done that before.
I don't think that the Mongols were paying mortgages for their horses because each Mongol had like 7 to 12.
Yeah, well, not only that, I feel like they just picked them up from the wild.
They're probably just like, "Ayo, horse, get over here."
They
And the
knew
horse
how
was
to
like-
do that.
I see you.
They're like, I'm going to tenderize some meat on you. Could have beaten my meat on your legs.
I don't think that was real.
It was.
What, the meat under the saddle thing?
Yeah.
I don't think it was real.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm pretty sure is real. The places they went And
Actually, you know what I think your reasoning for this is?
What?
That's some shit you would do, so someone else has probably done that.
No. The places they went to, there wasn't that much wood, right?
Okay.
So how are you gonna make a fire to cook your meat all the time?
Arguably, there's other sources of combustion.
Yes, but they're not. There's nothing reliable to make a fire. So what do? Just put your meat under the saddle.
And what the fuck is that going to do? It's not going to cook your food.
No, but it's gonna tenderize it enough for you to be able to chew through it.
And you're not gonna eat raw meat, dude. People are cooking their shit at this time.
Listen, man. They're Mongols, okay? They're huge outliers.
Just because they're Mongols doesn't mean they were savages.
Listen, we're not gonna fucking. I'm not gonna
Okay.
I was about to go look it up.
We'll do a thing about the Mongols another time.
Yes.
Because I really like their society. Now, they were the cavalry force.
Yeah.
They had horses. They had
The peasants. Oh, no. I'm sorry.
the knights.
The knights, yeah.
They had horses. They had retinues.
Yeah.
The support staff. I talked about that last episode. Or 2 episodes ago. And realistically, they were an experimental tactic. Or they're basically special ops.
And that just means they were trying to see what they could do.
Yeah. Because no one before, no generals really, had used massed infantry
Yeah.
with cavalry troops.
Yeah.
So generals like, what the fuck, dude? This is so sick.
They're like, holy shit, we have moving people.
And the problem that they came into was you can run your cavalry up,
Yeah.
but it's way too fast for your infantry. So your infantry is going to be left basically defenseless
Yeah.
because your cavalry is already up fucking shit up over here.
Yeah.
Now, there's a standout character, just to show you like how knights were trained and how early they would be getting into warfare.
Yeah.
There was a guy named Godfrey of Bouillon. He was an accomplished knight by 16.
Damn.
So this guy was training and probably already fighting by the time he was 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Which means there's some like 5'2" kid just running around the battlefield just wrecking people.
Yeah, but that's probably like a bunch of other 5'2" kids too.
Honestly, I want to know what the height of people was.
Probably not very tall.
I doubt like there's people over 6 foot.
I feel like knights were on the taller side because they had more food.
Probably, but I still don't think they're over like 5'9".
No. Probably not.
Like it's just kind of funny to me that you think of all these people like regular size today,
Yeah.
but really they're just like 5'2", 5'1".
Unless it's like a Norwegian guy. You imagine they bring
They've
Norwegian.
been historically tall,
Yeah, exactly.
which is weird.
Can you imagine you bring a Norwegian over to like fight in the Crusade?
They would probably record him as a giant,
Yeah, exactly.
which is probably where Tales of Giants come from.
Yeah.
Just some dude, some strongman dude like Halfthor Bjornsson, 7 feet tall.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at some point some genetic freak made like 7 foot and a half.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's a giant.
This dude who was 8'8".
Where?
It was like 1930s.
Oh.
He died at like 25.
Yeah,
His body was incapable of keeping up
too
with
tall.
the height. So do you want me to explain infantrymen?
Sure.
Poor people with swords.
If anything, if swords.
They had a lot of the same weapons as knights.
Oh, I see.
Basically, everyone had the same weapons, just different levels of quality.
This is walking up with a wooden sword.
Knights got relatively high quality equipment because they could afford it.
Yeah.
Poor people, not so much.
It almost sounds like the army.
They took out loans for swords. They couldn't pay them back.
That's rough. That's just rough.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that knights didn't use that infantrymen did,
Yeah.
bows.
Ah.
This was arguably the most devastating tactic
Which
of
was?
the Crusade. Just using bows as artillery.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
There was a bunch of stories of knights
Uh-huh.
who were dead that they're picking up off the battlefield that just had like 20 or 30 arrows in them.
Yeah. No, you fucking... It was barrages of that shit.
Yeah.
That's why.
And some people use crossbows, but they're expensive and slow and
It's just...
not really effective.
Yeah.
They were, if you hit someone with it, they would die.
Yes, for sure.
And they were devastating. They would cut through knight's armor like nothing.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you can get one shot out in the sign that a skilled archer could get 3 or 5.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like a, what do you prefer? The Godfrey of Bouillon dude did use crossbows, and they were so devastating that the Pope Urban tried to get them banned. Didn't happen.
No, of course not.
The the Muslim leadership was like, you showed up on our doorstep with these things. What are you going to do? You can't take them away from yourselves.
Yeah.
And then the type of war that Europe was used to was way different than what a crusade would be. Realistically,
Europe had like organized wars, right?
yes and no. They were organized.
As
they
in
were
like
short.
As in they planned them out. They're like, okay, we're gonna arrive there at this time, fight, and then it's over.
Kinda, yeah. But basically, it was just short skirmishes between knight or noble households.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the king of Germany, King Henry, would show up and be like, you know what? I don't like France. Let's invade all of France.
Yeah.
While that happened, it was rare.
Yeah, it was just like it was small skirmishes, and it was usually for power, not so much for
Yeah.
that.
And this is what caused so many castles to pop up in Europe. Because a noble house would have its main stronghold.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, okay, well, we have X amount of land.
Yeah.
We need X amount of different strongholds, castles to control that land.
Yeah.
And that became how wars were fought. Like, someone would be like, fuck that guy. Let's lay siege to a stronghold.
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, oh, you got my stronghold. I guess you win this war.
Yeah.
Like,
And then gunpowders.
and gunpowder showed up.
That was bad.
Protracted war, specifically like the Crusades,
Yeah.
avoided at all costs. No one wanted to be in one, mostly because of the financial and logistical resources you need. There was one thing that the Muslims weren't good at that basically everyone who fought in Europe was. It's a Rainbow Six Siege warfare.
So just breaching and just screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But they're all good at siege warfare.
Yeah.
They had early catapults, basically, trebuchets, whatever. I have it in here. They were immobile. Once you put them up, they couldn't be moved.
Yeah.
They'd have to be broken down.
The Muslim ones.
No, the European ones.
Oh.
Muslims didn't have them, as far as I know.
Oh, so Europeans had bad ones, and then Muslims just didn't have any.
Yeah, and a bad one is better than someone having nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Costly, like really expensive.
I can understand how.
And they were incredibly powerful compared to nothing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, compared to nothing, everything's powerful.
dude, I could have a rock and its OP compared to a
Nothing.
fist.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. You ever play Rust?
yeah. The descriptions of it are really sparse.
Yeah.
Like, no one knows what these things actually look like. No one recorded anything. But there
There's
was
probably a bunch of sticks on the ground.
probably, yeah. There was 3 names they went by, and they're all Roman names. So they're probably something like the ballista.
Yeah.
But they're called Petrarias, Manganas, and Manganellas. The thing I don't like about this time is that nobody took notes.
Well, everybody was too busy dying.
Everyone was too busy not knowing how to read and write. That's
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's why they didn't learn how to read and write, because they were dying.
yeah. And everyone was dying because they didn't know how to read or write.
Arguably, yeah.
They didn't know how to read a prescription. They couldn't get their medicine.
I don't feel like there was much medicine going on back in
Well,
the day.
you know what? There's probably a good amount of it.
You know, people used to pass down the robes, right?
Wait, what?
Like, in the medieval era, peasants used to wear the same shirt for 3 generations.
Really?
Yes. That's how bad it was.
That sounds terrible.
Do you understand why the British have such bad food and the Italian
Yeah, just-
and the Italian relies so much on like scraps of meat?
Jesus, dude.
Because there wasn't anything else they could eat. It wasn't like a delicacy like it is nowadays. They're just like, holy shit, dude, there's nothing else to eat.
If you have one jack dude in your family, it's going to ruin that shirt for everyone else.
No, exactly. They used to just buy
Everyone's going to be
oversized.
walking around with like a cloak.
You know, people used to sometimes they used to just wear shirts because they didn't have money to afford pants.
Rest in peace.
Side note: that's also how the bird's nest soup started.
Bird's nest soup?
You've never heard of bird's nest soup?
No, I've never heard of bird's
In
nest soup.
Asia, I think it's China.
Go on.
They take the bird's nest and they use it for soup.
Really?
Yeah, and it's super expensive and it's a delicacy. But
You you boil a bird's nest.
something like that.
That's a delicacy.
Yeah. But here's the thing: back in the day, there wasn't anything else to eat. So
Well, as far as I know, like all the delicacies today were poor people food way back then.
exactly.
Like lobster, poor people food in the 1800s.
People say tongue, and you're like, "Holy shit, that sounds bad." Nah, bro, that's all we was eating back in the day.
So we're gonna finish up with the leadership, then we're getting into the People's Crusade.
Yeah.
So Pope Urban targeted lower aristocracy because it created a domino effect.
Yeah.
if you can get a prince to join,
You could like oh shit, everyone under him to serve.
yeah, and one house was connected to another one, and that house was connected to like 7 other ones.
Yeah.
So if you can get one to join, you can get the other one to join. That one can get 7 to join. The other 7 can get 32 to join. Like,
Yeah.
You know how it works. Now, I had the monarchs listed down for this, but I already talked about it.
Yeah.
Just to give you like a general idea of what was happening still. King Henry,
Yes.
he was estranged by Pope Gregory the Seventh.
Yes.
What happened was when Pope Gregory was reforming everything, he excommunicated King Henry like 7 times.
Why? Just why?
Because he was trying to threaten people. And King Henry was like, go fuck yourself, dude. No one cares.
Yeah.
And I told you about William Rufus. He was really struggling with controlling it, so he just gave the money.
Yeah.
And then
And then Philip just.
the Philip thing.
Yeah, the Philip thing.
the Philip debacle.
The international issue.
So... Dude, I don't get how someone could think that was possible. How some dude was just like, you know what? I'm going to go marry an already married couple. That sounds like a really smart thing to do.
Like nowadays you can see how it could happen, but like back in the day, you have to understand. Put this in context of back in the day, right?
Everyone knew
People couldn't even divorce.
the like 10 commandments of the Bible.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing they knew from
So
birth.
it's like the dude, like the Pope, is got to be sitting there just like, what are you talking? Are you kidding me, dude? You know, it's like Rule 3. We can't just change this for you and your terrible kingdom. I'm sorry you built your city like a snail because you suck at war.
Honestly, that's why we built it like a snail. He couldn't control it. He was just like, I'm just gonna fucking leave it so messy
that no one wants to invade it again.
Yeah, exactly.
So this book and the information I gathered online, like totally different.
Well, that's because a lot of the information that we have about medieval ages in America is just biased by like Christian values.
Arguably, yeah.
Ooh, that's a nice crack.
It was a good one. I liked it.
Yeah.
ASMR spinal cracking.
Was it audible?
I don't think so.
Yeah, interesting.
That's
sad.
Yeah, rest in peace. I mean, if I actually could hear it on the mic, I could probably snap my spine in half. So this book goes into something different. It goes into People's Crusade as a massacre.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Everything I learned about this, it was like, yeah, the massacre of the Jews is kind of a footnote.
Yeah.
This book, it's like, oh, this was fucked, dude.
This is the Jewish?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I'm going to read off the stuff that I got that's not technically right.
What do you mean?
So this is the stuff that, like, this is from American sources.
I see.
So the People's Crusade wasn't a sanctioned crusade. Mm-hmm. They were just people who wanted to fight.
Yeah.
And low-ranking knights. Mm-hmm. So they left to go fight, even before the main crusade was announced.
Yeah.
Like, before the date was set in, like, August.
They had been trying to.
The date was set in August, but the People's Crusade left in July. Mm-hmm. And they left... Apparently, sources say...
Yeah? Sources
that
say.
A meteor shower happened, eclipses, and
Yeah.
a single comet within a short span of time.
So everybody just took it as a
Everyone
signal.
just fucking busted a nut over it, dude. And it was
I would
they're like,
understand why.
ooh, we have to go fight the Muslims.
Yeah, that's if several eclipses happen, a meteor shower and a single comet go by, you know what that means.
Honestly, if that happened today, I would be a little concerned.
Yeah, it all happens in the same night. Like, we're having an eclipse, a comet goes by, and then a whole shooting meteorite thing happens.
You're like, are we about to die?
Do we need a crusade? Is this happening?
Just something in like the back of your head is like, do we need to start a crusade again? Why is my head talking to me in Latin? I don't even
Why am I
know
looking at the
Latin.
Bible all of a sudden?
Why am I wearing a cross? Why do I have plate armor on.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Who's this guy talking to me in Latin?
What? Why is this hermit crab pulling up on me with 50,000 people?
Are we killing Jews?
I guess we're killing Jews.
That's rough.
So basically,
this is going to be taken out of context someday.
oh, probably a lot. When the basics of this is that the Crusade has two groups: Peter the Hermit and Walter Sansevier. Now, 40,000 people splits into 20,000. One goes down the Danube River.
Yeah.
Whatever. They get to Zeman. It's a town in Hungary.
Yeah.
The other half walks because they're dumb.
Yes.
And
well, they can't afford to go through a river.
no one could afford to go to the river, but they somehow got on the river.
Here's the thing. They couldn't swim.
You know what I don't understand?
What?
They had a bunch of swords. There was 40,000 people. I don't get why they couldn't have extorted their way onto the river.
That's actually a really good question. Like, you would have
They're
thought...
like, hey, we have a holy order from God and 40,000 swords. How about you carry us down this river?
It should have been, we have a holy order of God or 40,000 swords.
Well, that was the thing, according to this book. Peter the Hermit carried around a letter that supposedly was from God. Which, one, 100% bullshit. Two...
First, I'm wondering how the logistics of this, like, if somebody asks you to explain the logistics of how you got a letter from God, what are you going to say?
He said it fell from heaven. He's just said it fell out of the sky.
He's on the first floor. The fucking letter comes down from the second one. Holy shit, God has sent me a card.
And apparently it was like sealed with the cross and all that shit. I was like, fuck off, dude.
Yeah, sure.
The guy didn't take showers. He didn't bathe. You're not getting a letter
That
from
sounds
God,
like hermit
okay?
crab.
Yeah, he really is a hermit crab. So they meet up in Zeman. Some shit happens there. About 10,000 people die.
From, like, their own swords?
They fight. So some guy
Yeah.
got in an argument with another dude over shoes, I
Wait.
think.
10,000 people died? It just hit me that's a very large number of
That's
people.
a fourth of that crusade.
Yeah, what the fuck
Actually,
happened?
no, it's different. So, I confused it 2 times.
Okay.
So, what happened first was 2 guys got in an argument over the price of shoes.
Yes.
The Crusaders killed about 4,000 people.
Yeah, let's kill a whole country because of this.
Then,
Because that's a country back in the day.
and yeah, definitely. And then they head down because now they're being chased by people because you just killed 4,000
Yeah.
people.
The other 4,000 are coming.
Yeah. So they head down to Constantinople.
Yeah.
On the way, they get in a fight with some commander from the city of Nice.
Uh-huh.
He kills 10,000 people.
He immediately just...
Yeah, he is not fucking around.
Yeah.
They get escorted by the Byzantines.
After they lose 1/4 of
And
their army.
The Byzantine emperor is like, people don't know if he let them go and didn't tell them, or if he told them not to go and they didn't listen to him.
Oh.
But everyone dies fighting the Muslims.
Oh, that's sad.
Because the Turks had a really well-organized army.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we're on a mission from God. We can fight them. Didn't work out that way. Everyone dies.
How large was the Turk army? Not that large.
From what I remember, it was about the same size. But it was 40,000, like 30,000 casualties to like 10.
10,000 or just 10?
No, like just 10.
Jesus Christ.
All the sources say is like relatively minimal.
I don't understand how that happened. Did y'all just get mowed down by arrows?
Probably, yeah.
In my mind, I'm picturing this. The Crusade guys are rolling up, right? And they're feeling it. And just some arrows come down, and that's it. That's the end of it.
You know how most medieval wars worked?
How?
Most people died in the rout.
Of hunger and shit.
No, not even that.
Then?
So once the lines broke and people start to run, that's when most people die.
Okay.
Because people run up behind you and stab you.
Yeah.
Like according to this cover here,
Yeah.
they look like they got routed.
Yes.
Homeboy stabs him. He's upset about that.
Yeah. Obviously.
And people are just chilling in the castle.
Yeah.
Right, because you're like, bro, why'd you have to stab me?
So the Turks just had people behind them, and they didn't know.
Basically, yeah. That's as far as I know. Now, that's probably all fake.
Yeah, we just made all this up.
According to the book,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to bust out the People's Crusade. As far as we know, there was only Peter the Hermit. But the likelihood is there was like 30 guys like him.
With 40,000 people behind him?
No, just like
Nah.
40,000 liters
Yeah.
with 40,000 people. That's
Yeah.
so there's
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of people. There's probably like 20 or 30 people similar to him that also were as good at talking as him. He was apparently an exceptional speaker.
I don't understand how.
I don't know either. Apparently he was illiterate.
Great. So how do you read the...
No one knows.
It's like I gotta learn from God saying I don't know what here.
There's people who think that he had like some education, not a lot. So like he could read like A and B and C. He couldn't read D, E, and F.
He was like, a letter. No
I got
idea.
A letter.
Yeah.
It's just the Blue's Clues thing. We just got a letter. I wonder who it's from.
Stop.
Oh, it's from God, and I have to crusade.
That'd be... I'd watch that.
So the problem with this is that historians can't figure out the difference between the People's Crusade and the regular crusade because really they're all preaching the same message.
Yeah.
So,
But it makes sense that one was considered the People's Crusades because it wasn't really called for by the church. It kind of just happened.
kind of, yeah. I mean, the crusade as a whole was called for. The People's Crusade was kind of just a side effect.
Yeah.
Now, Peter the Hermit, he was a really serious guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was also really skinny and short.
Because he had no food.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And he spent a lot of time as a recluse. So he was just kind of by himself for a while.
Yeah.
The problem is that the reason he was able to overcome and lead so many people is because demagogues were a really common thing.
Oh, I see.
So I have an example of a demagogue who was a filthy heretic that had his followers so mesmerized they ended up drinking his bath water as a holy elixir.
God damn.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Think about how, like, charismatic you'd have to be. I feel like you don't even have to be charismatic. You'd have to speak Latin.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, it's clearly God.
Yeah.
This is the chapter where they say that until the early 19th century, people believed Peter the Hermit had been responsible for all the stuff going on in the Crusade.
Uh-huh. Whoa, that's crazy.
Now, the problem with that is that he started preaching after the Council of Claremont.
Mm-hmm.
There's some stories that, specifically here, before the Council of Claremont, he made a pilgrimage to the Holy Land of Jerusalem. And when he got there, he apparently witnessed horrendous oppression. All kinds of crimes going on. And he was so shocked that he took solace in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
What does it feel like he made that up?
And at this point, he decided, I'm really shook up. I'm in the most holy place in the entire Christian religion. I'm going to take a nap. And during this nap, God comes to him.
Gave him a letter.
And tells him, where's it at? Let's see. He would receive from the Patriarch letters of our mission with the seal of the Holy Cross, and you will hasten as quickly as possible to your journey to the land of your people. You will disclose the malicious acts and injustices inflicted on our people in holy place, and stir the hearts of the faithful to the cleansing of the holy places in Jerusalem. That's it.
Sure.
That's apparently what God told him.
Yes.
So, he says that a letter fell from heaven and that it had the seal of the cross on it and that it was a letter from God.
100% what happened.
Okay. Here's the personal reason why I think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to throw this out there. If a God is all-powerful, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he just be like, hey, yo, This is what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah. And then he could just be like, whenever he's preaching,
Yeah.
God could just be like, Ayo, this is my homie. I need you to do stuff for him. There's no evidence that Peter ever visited Jerusalem.
Nice.
Or that he was sanctioned by the Pope.
Great.
Ever. So, no record of any of his preaching survives.
Mm-hmm. As one would expect, right?
We have an idea of people who were witnesses to him. What he did was he also used a lot of inflammatory speech that was mostly propaganda, along the similar lines of Pope Urban. He was saying things like, oh, they're defiling the women, they're killing people, they're doing heinous acts.
Everybody just uses women as a tool, man. It's so messed up.
Honestly, yeah. Now, remember that Walter Sansevar guy?
Yeah.
So, he left on May 21st. He was the earliest guy to leave.
Mm-hmm.
He was a knight. He had a bunch of people with him.
Yeah.
And the problem with this is that 40,000 people leaving before the crusade is actually ready is a huge problem for your strategy.
Right? You think so?
You think you want to get the drop on the Muslims with your 100,000 people and your knights and all your military logistics and going on. 40,000 people just running in blind, mostly illiterate and retarded.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense as to why they did that then.
Because they were illiterate and retarded and dumb.
Like you changed that.
They were illiterate and retarded, Sam. That's what's up. Compared to people today,
no, yeah,
they
100%.
would have no idea what's happening. You could show them a bird and they would think it was a fish.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you could say you have a letter from God and take them on a crusade.
If it was underwater, yes. Dude,
I'm going to go back to the medieval ages with my time machine and I'm just going to convince people I'm a witch with my cell phone.
And then you're going to get killed.
You know how I'm not going to die?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to bring a gun with me.
No, you're going to say God gave it to you.
I'm going to bring 2 AA-12s with me and say God gave them to me. And I will take on the entire crusade.
Honestly, I could see, just take a 50 call. Just fuck it.
You could probably take on the entire crusade with one, fortified position today.
Yeah, probably. Enough guns. I mean, enough
ammo. If you put, 10 or 12 artillery pieces in there.
Oh, no.
Firing 24 hours a day.
You'd have to, rotate them out at some point.
Yeah, you have, 3 or 4 crews for each one.
Yeah. Well, no. They blow up.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're firing half your artillery in the day and half the artillery at night, 24/7. Yeah. They'd probably leave before you even...
Oh my! You know what? Just put a claymore down on the ground. That's all you got to do.
Honestly, it probably is. You just one really good explosive device, one IED,
anything, just anything.
One IED, and when they show up, you're like, yeah, you know that explosion that happened? Yeah, God sent it. Yeah, and he said you should stop crusading.
That's God's way of saying go fuck yourself.
So here's all the notes I have for the Holocaust.
That's the first one.
Yeah, the original Holocaust.
Have there been more than 2? Oh, no, I was just thinking about it. Cause the other day I was at the store. Mm-hmm. And this was after we decided to start talking about this thing. Crusades. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking to myself and I was like, okay, why do I feel like I've heard this before? And then it hit me that the Holocaust was like this, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, wait a minute. This was the first Holocaust. See? Logic.
So
it makes no sense as to what I said, but in my mind, it was interesting.
So religious pogroms began in December of 1095.
Ooh, what?
Religious pogroms, purges.
Yeah.
Began in December 1095.
Yeah.
So this was a year before the crusade was even announced.
The crusade was long overdue at that point.
Yeah, people were just really hated the Jews, I guess.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, man, it's been a thing.
So
wait a minute. This was the first out of 3 Holocausts.
What's the third one?
The second one.
Is the Hitler Holocaust?
No.
Okay, then what is it?
It's the Plague Holocaust.
Plague? What the fuck are you talking about?
A lot of Jews got killed during the plague.
That's not a Holocaust. No, done by people.
No. People burned them alive.
Okay, that's a different situation.
Yeah,
okay.
Because they thought it was the Jews' fault for lending money.
What? Are you talking?
Because you know how in the Bible you're not supposed to lend money?
Jews are the only ones who can lend money.
Yeah, okay. So the church was like, wait a minute. This is a punishment from God. And the Jewish are the ones lending money.
It's always the church who's starting this shit.
It really is, dude.
So, do you want to hear about the first Holocaust?
Yeah, because I already talked about the second one.
So, French Jews in Rouen warned their homies in Germany. They're like, hey, yo, get the fuck out of here. The Crusaders are not good.
Yeah.
And a lot of them did. They went to the...
Please tell me they didn't go east.
No, they didn't.
Oh, good.
They went to the bishop in... I'm looking for the city. Where's it at? There was a bishop in Germany who was protecting Jews.
Oh.
I think he was Spence.
That's ironic.
God, it really is. Speyer. That's where it is. The Bishop of Speyer. Jesus, stop dropping things.
I only dropped one thing.
So, there was 2 attacks at Worms and Mainz. There was a city called Worms.
Okay, I was wondering, was that a worm attack or...
No. For a long time, historians believed that it was just mobs of people who were like, hey, those are Jews.
Yeah. As you do.
We should kill them.
Yeah.
But really, the People's Crusade was led by knights. And small groups of knights would lead large groups of people.
I see.
So, arguably, what had happened was they were on crusade, and they were like, well, you know, the message of the crusade is to purge the enemies of God. Jews aren't Christian. Mm-hmm. While we're here, we might as well do some cleaning.
Which is exactly what I'm telling you. That the Pope didn't say it out loud.
Yeah.
But he sort of meant it.
And here's a quote from a Jewish eyewitness. Dude,
You're fucking with me, right?
No, I got eyewitness reports.
She's saying that as if it happened last Saturday.
Yeah, it did happen last Saturday.
It's like, yeah, my friend, he saw it happen.
So it says, his people had been abused by both princes and common folk who placed an evil sign upon their garments, a cross and helmets on their heads.
Rough.
Yeah, that sounds rough. That does not doing too good a PR for
Catholicism.
See,
well, it's not funny, but it's fucked though, because it's quite literally what the Crusaders said that the other people were doing to the Christians.
The Christians were doing it to everyone else.
Yeah.
It's almost like propaganda is powerful. Even though it was mostly the first wave of Crusaders that were responsible for the purges, it wasn't just them. The second wave, most notably Godfrey of Bouillon, the knight who was so accomplished at 16 and used a crossbow in battle, extorted 500 silver pieces from the Jews of Mainz and Cologne, and he said he would protect them, didn't protect them. Now, I don't know how much a silver piece is worth.
What do you mean?
Because he got 500 silver pieces.
Oh, okay.
From all the Jews in those towns.
But then, like, nobody has any
But
idea.
There was a guy, later in the book, who had to raise 1,300 gold coins, or silver pieces, to buy a castle.
So what the fuck is a piece... Like, what?
So this guy basically had gotten half the price of a castle in exchange for services he never rendered.
Great, right?
You know what was my favorite part about this?
What?
Is even during the time, Christian contemporaries were like, why are you guys doing this? One of them even noted, I know not whether by a judgment of the Lord or by some error of mine, they rose in the spirit of cruelty against the Jewish people, scattered throughout these cities and slaughtered them without mercy, asserting it to be the beginning of their expedition to Jerusalem and their duty against the enemies of the Christian faith.
What the fuck?
A lot of it is attributed to the fact that when Pope Urban made the speech at Claremont, he opened a Pandora's box using racism as a strategy.
It was bound to be misinterpreted.
And what's kind of agreed upon here is that when he opened that box, using racial discrimination, people kind of took that with creative license.
Oh, that's what I'm telling you. Bound to misinterpret it. To be misinterpreted.
And there's another dude. Who, he's a real asshole.
Yeah.
His name is Emiko of Leiningen.
Yeah.
Leiningen.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you pronounce that?
There's no way you're going to pronounce it right.
He proclaimed himself the self-styled champion of the Holocaust.
Okay.
I don't know if he really proclaimed himself. That's what he's described as.
Yeah. It sounds like he proclaimed himself.
So, him and his homies,
Uh-huh.
his band of about a few hundred or a few thousand people,
Yeah.
were forcing Jews to convert, which is illegal against papal law.
Mm-hmm.
They were killing them, obviously.
Yeah.
And a lot of bishops in these regions just turned a blind eye to it.
As, you know, it makes sense.
Yeah. Now, this stuff was confirmed by a Christian historian named Albert of Aachen in the 12th century. He was able to confirm all this stuff. And the city of Worms on the 18th of May, 1096, was totally fucked up.
Yeah.
And there's a quote here. They took a trampled corpse of theirs, dead body, from their previous attack,
Yeah.
which they had buried 30 days previously,
What the fuck?
and carried it through the city, saying, "Behold what the Jews have done to our comrade. They took a Gentile and boiled him in water. Then they poured the water into our wells in order to kill us."
Boy.
Didn't happen.
Of
But-
course it didn't happen.
You know, we'll make some
Yeah.
shit up to
Yeah.
get our job done. The only people who were spared in this massacre were people who accepted forced conversion. And they were supposed to be protecting Jews in the keep of the bishop. Mm-hmm. But Amico and his homies laid siege
Yeah.
to that castle.
And then they just all went to hell.
And they got in and they fucked everyone up.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Now, there's a description of a Jew being killed. They put a rope around his neck and dragged him throughout the entire city. Through the mud of the streets, up to the place of their idolatry. His soul was still bound up in his body. They said to him, "You may still be saved. Do you wish to convert?" He signaled with his finger, for he was unable to utter a word with his mouth, for he had been strangled, saying, "Cut off my head," and they severed his neck. So, on the second reading, I'm assuming he was just telling them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Because he signaled with his finger.
Yeah.
Two, that dude is a bad motherfucker.
He really is.
Because
Well, I mean, at that point, you've gone through so much, right? You're like,
fuck it,
this.
man.
Yeah,
Wu-Tang.
exactly.
And that's where the Wu-Tang Clan comes from.
But well, I don't know, because he didn't protect his neck.
Oh, fuck, you're right. He didn't protect his neck. Damn.
Exactly.
So, after hearing this, entire Jewish families committed suicide.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. This guy was just so fucked. That he was doing things that caused entire Jewish families to commit suicide.
Side note, I think my ankle's still sprained.
That's not good.
It's not. Fucking hurts. Anyway,
So, later
Jewish
on,
people
yeah,
have it rough.
on the 20th of May, and they started on the 18th, the entire Jewish population of Mainz had been eradicated.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Or of Worms had been eradicated.
That was rough.
Oh, it's a squirrel.
Squirrel?
Yeah.
Why am I like a dog? It's a squirrel, that's a squirrel.
He's
I
right
mean,
there, dude.
turn around.
He's just running around the backyard.
Yeah.
On the 25th of May, Amico and his band turned their sights upon Mainz.
Did they kill them too?
The Jewish population tried to take refuge with Albert of Aachen, the dude who recorded all this information. He got them to pay an incredible amount of money,
Yeah.
which means even for a historian, he is quite biased.
Uh-huh.
And when Amico got into the castle, he didn't do shit to protect them.
That's rough.
So, the first wave of this band was killing efficiently. The second wave,
Yeah.
he'd finished about this time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He realized that it was August, and he was about to reach Constantinople. He was close. He was getting close. Or they're heading out to the Crusade, because he's still in Germany. And they laid siege to the town of Weisselberg for 3 weeks.
As one does.
The town didn't want to let them in, because they knew.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not going to fucking let you in. You're going to kill everyone.
So just,
And even though they were pretty good at siege warfare,
yeah.
they failed. And the king of Hungary showed up,
Oh, shit.
and he fucked them up.
The Crusaders, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they got routed. Everyone who survived ran back to Western Europe.
Should have turned Jewish.
They should have, right?
Yeah. They should have turned them Jewish.
Emiko, the dude who's playing up all hard and shit,
Yeah.
he fled back to Germany immediately. Says, he was a bitch.
Exactly.
Some of his followers, Drogo of Nacelle, some Game of Thrones shit. I hope you know.
Yeah. All these names, dude, fucking crazy.
Thomas of Marl and William the Carpenter went back to Italy.
William the Carpenter.
Yeah, just this dude who was out there committing atrocities, and it was William the Carpenter.
Everybody's like got fancy names from this place and the other place.
A.O. Carpenter B.
Yeah.
They went back to Italy, and they hooked up the Crusade again. And they went back.
Yeah. To kill more Jews.
Those guys were real hardcore about their job. They loved killing Jews, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Walter Sansevar,
Yeah.
he didn't have any issues. He got back to what was it? He got back to Constantinople pretty easily. Mainly because he probably wasn't doing a lot of Jew killing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. Well, there wasn't any more Jews to kill.
Peter the Hermit and Walter Sansevar were involved in a little bit of the purges.
Yeah.
But they weren't.
Yeah.
Nowhere near as bad as Emiko.
Well, 'cause there wasn't that many Jews to kill after them.
They were around there at the same time,
Oh, interesting.
which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So I feel like what this was Emiko just was already anti-Semitic.
Yeah. No,
And
100%.
He was like, this is my chance.
There's no way to kill that many Jews and you're not.
This is my chance. It's kind of unknown how many Jews were killed in total. Some
Estimate?
people say 4,000, but
Sounds
the
wrong.
range is probably a lot higher than that.
You think
because
it's 40?
I don't think it's 40,000,
Yeah.
but I think it's around there.
Yeah.
Because if entire Jewish families were killing themselves, and this wasn't even
Yeah.
in the area, this is people who are hundreds of miles away.
Exactly.
We can't count all that.
Yeah.
So I think it was a huge.
But I mean, accounting for like the world population back in the day, that's a huge percentage.
Yeah, it was even if it was 40,000, it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And arguably, if you scaled it compared to the Holocaust in the
A solid
40s.
4% of the people in the world fucking died.
So if you did the relative scale compared to the Holocaust of 1945 or World War II, I wonder how much of a percentage that would be.
I'm gonna do the math right now. I gotta find out how many people there were in the.
We don't need to. We're at 46 minutes. 47.
Okay, I'm still gonna find out how many people there were.
All right. So this episode of the Opinion Overload podcast will be coming to a close. The next episode about the Crusade will be the early Crusade. That's going to be when the actual non-anti-Semitic, mostly, Crusaders got to Constantinople and then started fighting the Muslims to get
These
to Jerusalem.
fuckers are not telling me how many people there were.
That's probably because we don't have any accurate numbers.
Demographic history.
So
It tells me population decline, population growth. That's not what I need to know.
So we'll see you on Thursday with our other episode of the Opinion
I
Overload
think I
podcast.
found it.
What is it?
There was a lot more people than I thought.
How much?
In the year 1000,
Yeah.
56.4 European million.
56.4 million in Europe?
Yep.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot more people than I thought.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of agreeing with you right now.
So there wasn't that many people in the
Yeah. It was just some real zealous people.
yeah. Crazy shit.
All right, so we will see you on Thursday next
Yes, we
week
will.
of the podcast.